Hello and welcome to JCTV Africa, where we talk about issues that are happening in and around Africa. And if you're new on this channel, you know what to do. Please subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you won't miss out on all the things that we are talking about. Don't you love these t-shirts? If you want one of those t-shirts, I can deliver it to you. It is price of about $20 if you are in South Africa. If you're outside South Africa, we have to talk about the courier fee charges. But this is not for you to this is only for you to support the channel JCTV Africa so that we can grow and continue to grow. And as we are speaking right now, we now have over 3 million views on the channel. 3 million views. That's a great number, and I really appreciate you for that. Today we want to look at Dr. Arikana Chihombori Quao. Some of you remember her with her fiery presentations about Africa, how Africa is, being captured by France, and how Africa lost a plot in 1963 at the formation of the Organization of African Union, which is now Organization of African Unity, which is now African Union. And she speaks about the Casablanca group and the Monrovia group. And, she goes, everyone makes a hero. But in her own country, she is hypocritical, if I can put it that way. Because the video that I'm about to show you, she is speaking about opposition being used by the West to force a regime change agenda. And this narrative has been peddled by ZANU-PF in many spheres, which is a lie. Because ZANU-PF, when they are talking to the West, then they are not selling the country. But when when the opposition talks to the West, they are influencing bad things to the country. It is a very, very big lie. And also, if you look at the last election, before I preempt this, if you look at the last election, how opposition was malfunded to the extent that they could not field all their MPs in all the parts of the country. Number two, they could not field all their councillors because they didn't have resources. They could not field enough election agents, even in 2018. That is the reason why it was difficult for them to have enough V11s in all places, in all polling stations. Then tell me, if an opposition is being funded by the West, how can they fail to be able to field all their field agents if the West is saying we want the opposition to win? Tell me. Let us listen to her, and I'm going to take you back to the video that she was talking about the fact that African leaders, they need to wake up to the fact that this issue of coups is not going to happen in Niger. There was a coup that had happened in Niger, and this issue of coups is not going to happen in Niger. It's also going to happen in other countries. But my question is, the coup is fine when it is happening in Niger and in Gabon, when people are taken to the streets and they are saying enough is enough. But when it comes to Zimbabwe, then no, there is a West interference. But there was a coup that happened in 2017, which the government right now is now prosecuting people who would say it was a coup. But she knows that it was a coup because there was a regime change. Mugabe was toppled by military. That is a given. So when it happens in Zimbabwe in 2017, no, then it's fine. But now people are saying, what about if people in Zimbabwe, the military in Zimbabwe, are going to topple the government? No, we don't want that. So she's hypocritical. Let us listen to the first video, and then we are going to come to the video when now she is talking about this problem in the opposition. Let's take a listen.
Taking back what belongs to us, and that's what makes these coups different. And I'm uncomfortable calling them coups. I'm calling them instead ideological realignment of our economic, political, and social values. The children have risen and the children are speaking, and the citizens themselves are backing those who have led the uprising. And it is a warning to the Western powers that the African revolution has begun, and those who are going to align themselves with the people are those who are going to survive the revolution that's taking place in Africa. The same is true with African leaders as well. Those who will align themselves with the wishes of the people are the ones who are going to survive this revolution as well. I do believe the African revolution has begun, and those who cannot see the writing on the wall, they will not survive this revolution. There is no turning back. The children of Africa are rising. The children of Africa understand the issues, and this time they're going to the streets, not along party lines. They're going to the streets united as citizens of Niger, as citizens of Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea, because they understand that this particular fight has got to be dealt with from a national level, and I hope with time it'll be dealt with from a continental level. We must ultimately look at what is ultimately best for the people. We don't want leadership that's going to be used by outside forces as instruments of our own self-destruction. I'm leading this to say, during my tenure as the African Union ambassador to the United States, I was quite disappointed by members of the then MDC, and that included Chamisa, the current president of CCC, which is a new party, when they were coming to the United States to lobby for sanctions against Zimbabwe to continue. That to me was quite disturbing, understanding what sanctions were doing to the average person on the street. Why then would anyone who wants to lead the people of Zimbabwe, why then would anyone who claims to love the people of Zimbabwe then come to Washington and lobby for sanctions against Zimbabwe to continue? I think it was at that point that the opposition of Zimbabwe lost me. I just could not understand it. And that sentiment continues. You hear comments from some of them claiming that the Westerners are going to help us, that we needed to bring Westerners in order to improve the economy. They fail to understand that the economy is where it is today.
This is a big hypocrisy. You recall in 2020 to be exact, she lobbied for the West that they were now going to compensate the white farmers, right? And she was saying that it's time for us to compensate those white farmers who their land was taken. It was not their land actually, whose land was taken in 2000. And for your own information, what happened during the land reform? Very, very critical, very, very crucial. Let me explain to the novices who are told that, no, we took the land. Look here, we didn't take the land. It was used as a political tool. Did you know that Morgan Tsvangirai, at the formation of MDC, he wanted people to get their land, which they had fought for. That was one of his main agenda. Number two, he also wanted war veterans to be compensated for the work that they did during the liberation struggle, which they were kept on getting promises and promises. And this was the tool that ZANU-PF used as a counter to, or as a reverse psychology to the war veterans in order to discredit Mr. Tsvangirai. So the land was not taken. Zimbabwe did not take land. They just confiscated land. They used it as a political tool. How does this work? You see right now, a lot of people that got that land, they don't have title deeds for that land. But the people that were evicted from that land, which was not theirs, the government of the day, the white colonial regime, it made sure they had their title deeds. It was a 20-year period from around, if I'm not mistaken, from around 1940 to the 1960s. The government made sure in that 20 years, it normalized the land, and they gave, you remember the 1931, the Land Apportionment Act? After that, they made sure that they give the people the title deeds to the land. But our own government, after confiscating the land in a haphazard manner, they did not give the black people title deeds to that land. It was given over partisan lines. And right now, the reason why people in the rural areas cannot have a choice to vote for any other political party rather than ZANU-PF, they are being told, we are going to take that land. Because ZANU-PF chiefs have got power to evict anyone, because those people, they don't have title deeds for that land. Most of the people that got the land, they got it over offer letters. They don't own that land. Some of them, they then got 99-year lease, which is commendable, but it was given to mostly people who were subscribed to the party. So the issue of the land is the reason why we have sanctions. That's why she was saying, because we want sanctions to go, we are going to give back the land. Where does this issue of sanctions come from? It comes from the fact that SADC tribunal ruled in favor of the white farmers. That's why the conditions for the removal of sanctions was give back people their land. Give back people for the developments that compensate the white farmers. That is the money that, if you recall, if you check in this video that the president did on the eve of election, it was mentioning the issue of that we need to compensate the white farmers. She was lobbying for that. Compensating white farmers, no problem. But when it comes to the opposition, they are saying, no, they are lobbying for sanctions. But did they really lobby for sanctions when the sanctions had a condition to be removed? The conditions was compensate the white farmers. So the opposition didn't go there and lobby sanctions. They just had a meeting with the people. But they were not lobbying for sanctions because they also wanted to become presidents of that country. And tell me, when last did Nelson Chamisa step his foot in the United States? He went there together with Tendai Biti. They were galvanizing support like anyone else. When President Idi Mnangagwa got into the presidency, the envoy of the British envoy came to Zimbabwe. What was that? So when it is done by the opposition, then it's fine. But when it's done by the opposition, then the regime change agenda. When it's done by the ruling party, no, it's not outside interference. So I'm really disappointed in Dr. Arikana Chihombori Quao, because she is a flip-flopper. As much as she's a hero to most African countries, but she's a flip-flopper when it comes to Zimbabwe. Anyway, tell me what you think about this in the comment section, and I would love to hear your thoughts. From me, I am out.